Religion and social norms. We now arrive at one of the most complex dimensions of our study, the intersection of religion and social norms with sexual violence. Religion is never just a set of personal beliefs. It is also a social force, a system of symbols, values, and rules that shapes how communities understand the world and how individuals interpret their lives. This means religion plays a profound role in shaping both the problem of sexual violence and the possibilities for healing. Religion as a double-edged sword. Let's start with the paradox. On the one hand, religion can be a barrier. Many faith traditions emphasize purity, virginity, abstinence, and female modesty. While these teachings are often framed as protecting women, they can also silence survivors, making them feel that disclosure would bring shame to themselves or their families. Rape myths, such as she must have been dressed provocatively, or a good wife should submit to her husband, are sometimes reinforced by religious interpretations. Survivors raised in religious households may internalize these messages, seeing their assault not as a violation but as a sinful burden they must carry in silence. On the other hand, religion can also be a resource. Teachings that emphasize justice, compassion, and protection of the vulnerable can encourage disclosure and resilience. Religious communities can provide social support, spiritual frameworks for healing, and practical assistance. Positive religious coping, prayer, finding meaning, feeling close to God, has been shown to reduce depression and anxiety and to support recovery. Ano and Vasconcelos, 2005. So, the question is never simply, is religion helpful or harmful? The answer depends on how religious teachings are interpreted and lived out. Disclosure and social reactions. Let's talk about disclosure. A major study by Courtney Ahrens and colleagues in 2007 looked at how survivors decide whom to tell about their assault. What they found was revealing. Survivors disclosed to an average of 7 people over time, but usually one at a time, not all at once. The first disclosure was often to a friend, followed by family members or significant others. Very few survivors turned first to police, medical professionals, or clergy. And here's the crucial part. The responses they received shaped their recovery. Supportive responses, listening, believing, offering help, led to better psychological outcomes. Negative responses, blame, disbelief, minimization, deepened trauma. Religion often frames these responses. A family steeped in strict religious purity culture might respond with, "Don't tell anyone, it will ruin our reputation." Another family, shaped by justice-oriented faith, might respond with, "God loves you, and what happened is wrong. We will walk with you through this." So we see, religion does not just affect the survivor, it affects the entire social network around them. The psychology of religious coping. Let's return to the idea of coping. Ano and Vasconcelos, in their 2005 meta-analysis, distinguished between positive and negative religious coping. Positive coping might involve finding meaning in suffering, sensing God's presence, or believing that justice and healing are possible. Survivors who engage in this form of coping often report reduced distress and stronger resilience. Negative coping, by contrast, might include viewing trauma as punishment from God, feeling abandoned by the divine, or believing they are spiritually contaminated. Survivors in this category often experience worse mental health outcomes. What's fascinating is how culture influences these patterns. For example, African American women in particular have been shown to lean on religious coping as a central resource for recovery. Ahrens et al., 2010. This reflects not only personal belief, but also the communal role of the Black church as a site of resilience and solidarity. Religion, gender, and rape myths. Religion also shapes broader social attitudes. Studies consistently show a link between scriptural literalism, religiosity, and ambivalent sexism. The belief that women should be cherished and protected, but also controlled and limited. Byrne and Busso, 2005. Mikołajczak and Pietrzak, 2014. This is a critical connection because ambivalent sexism often supports rape myths. Consider some of these myths. Women lie about rape. A husband cannot rape his wife. A real victim always resists. Barnett, Sligar, and Wang, 2018, found that individuals with higher levels of religiosity, particularly extrinsic religiosity, where faith is used for social belonging or status, were more likely to endorse these myths. Conversely, atheists and agnostics tended to reject them, but here again, nuance matters. Not all religious individuals support rape myths. Those with intrinsic religiosity, where faith is lived sincerely as a guiding principle, often show greater compassion and less prejudice. Allport and Ross, 1967. So the way religion is internalized makes a difference. When trauma disrupts faith, we must also recognize that sexual violence does not just harm bodies and minds, it often shakes faith itself. Ben Ezra and colleagues in 2010 found that many survivors experienced major religious changes after sexual assault. Some became less religious, feeling betrayed or abandoned by God. Others became more religious, seeking strength in their faith to survive. This dual pattern shows us again the paradox of religion. It can be a source of both crisis and comfort. Pulling it together. So, what can we conclude about the role of religion and social norms in the context of sexual violence? Religion is a double-edged sword. It can silence survivors or empower them. Social reactions matter deeply, and these are often shaped by religious values. Religious coping can heal or harm, depending on whether survivors experience God as a source of compassion or condemnation. Broader social attitudes about gender and sexuality are influenced by religious traditions, sometimes reinforcing harmful rape myths, sometimes inspiring justice and equality. As we move forward, we will look at how feminist theology critiques these dynamics, asking, how have patriarchal structures within religion perpetuated violence, and how can theology itself become a tool for liberation and healing?